Every actor has one job: make us believe. The best performers don't just act the part, they live it. And sometimes, to truly sell a scene, they pull off a trick so clever, it changes how we look at the entire performance. What's wild is that many of these tricks didn't come from directors, writers, or producers. These weren't million-dollar special effects or award-winning prosthetics. They were completely self-devised ideas. Little, and sometimes painful hacks actors came up with on the spot to make their characters more believable. Let's dive into the brilliant, bizarre, and sometimes downright brutal tricks actors have used to stay in character and make you believe every second. Dwayne Johnson, real chains, real blackouts. Say what you want about Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, but the guy commits. While filming Hercules, Johnson wanted to make the hero's breakout scene look as real as possible. The moment, Hercules breaking free from chains in a show of pure strength. So, naturally, Johnson asked to be bound with actual, thick steel chains. He didn't just act like he was struggling, he struggled. So much so that he blacked out during all 8 takes. Yes, 8. The chains eventually broke using movie magic, but the strain, that was all real. Not bad for a guy often accused of playing it safe. Ed Helms, sacrificing a tooth for the hangover. In The Hangover, Ed Helms' character Stu wakes up to discover he's pulled out his own tooth. Most productions would black out the actor's tooth with CGI or prosthetics, but Helms had a better and much weirder solution. Helms already had a fake tooth implant from childhood, so he simply asked his dentist to remove it.
I have an implant here. When we were shooting, I went to my dentist and I was like, they want to take my tooth out. Is that something? Is this possible? Like, can we take this implant out temporarily? And he was like, yeah, we can do that.
No effects, no makeup, just one committed actor, a willing dentist, and a role that helped make the movie a comedy classic. Robert De Niro, let's play, almost, real Russian roulette. Robert De Niro doesn't fake it. During The Deer Hunter, he had to film a Russian roulette scene where he pulls a trigger while pointing a gun at John Cazale's head. De Niro, ever the method actor, asked if he could use a live round in the chamber. Director Michael Cimino was understandably horrified, but De Niro insisted. He said the gun could be rigged so the bullet wouldn't fire. Even more shocking, Cimino and Cazale agreed. It's a terrifying level of commitment, but the result? One of the most intense scenes in cinema history and an Oscar nomination for De Niro. Matthew Lillard, screaming himself into Shaggy. When Matthew Lillard took on the role of Shaggy in 2002's Scooby-Doo, he knew he had big, goofy shoes to fill. The original voice actor Casey Kasem gave Shaggy a perpetually hoarse, panicked voice. So what did Lillard do? He literally screamed himself hoarse. To get that perfect raspy tone, Lillard would scream until his throat hurt, and then deliver his lines.
And I'm in my car, and I've got my hand on the steering wheel, and I'm screaming, ah! Ah! Trying to ruin my voice.
It worked. Not only did he nail the voice, but he's been the official voice of Shaggy in most projects since 2004. Adam Scott, lip-syncing like a pro in Step Brothers. Remember that awkwardly amazing scene in Step Brothers where Adam Scott leads his family in a perfectly harmonized version of Sweet Child O' Mine? Well, Scott wasn't actually singing. A professional vocalist did the heavy lifting, but Scott had to make it look real. So, he stared at the singer's mouth off camera, mimicking every lip movement in real time. The scene was done live, with the car on a soundstage, and Scott glued to the singer's mouth like a hawk. The result? A cringy, hilarious scene that somehow became iconic. Halle Berry, going method, and unbathed. Before she was an Oscar winner, Halle Berry had to prove herself. In Jungle Fever, she plays a homeless drug addict. Director Spike Lee thought she was too beautiful to be believable in the role. So Berry made a bold choice. She stopped bathing for weeks. She committed so hard to the role that her co-stars reportedly started keeping their distance. But the performance was raw, gritty, and unforgettable. It also launched Berry's career. No perfume, no problem. Joaquin Phoenix, half-wired jaw for The Master. For his role in The Master, Joaquin Phoenix wanted to portray a war veteran with deep trauma and bottled tension. His inspiration? His father, who spoke out of one side of his mouth when stressed. To capture that energy, Phoenix wired half his jaw shut, using metal brackets and rubber bands from his dentist. It physically forced his speech into a clenched, asymmetrical rhythm. It's a small detail, but one that defined his eerie, magnetic performance. Jenna Ortega, no blinking allowed. When Jenna Ortega stepped into the role of Wednesday Addams, she gave the character her own chilling twist. Inspired by Tim Burton's love of deadpan performances, Ortega decided her version of Wednesday wouldn't blink. Not once. Instead, she would blink only when the camera wasn't on her, or when another character was talking. That way, her eyes were always wide and eerie when it mattered most. It's a small detail that made a huge difference and helped make her version of Wednesday iconic. Keith Coogan, the reverse stab trick. In Adventures in Babysitting, there's a scene where Keith Coogan's character gets stabbed in the foot on a train. Rather than rely on visual effects, Coogan came up with a trick: film the knife coming out of his foot and then play it in reverse.
That was reverse. They actually put the knife in my foot and put fishing line in it and pulled it out.
It's a low-tech, old-school trick, but it worked. The result is a surprisingly convincing gag in a cult classic movie, proof that you don't need $1 million budget to pull off a great illusion. Johnny Depp, bagpipes, babies, and bombs. Johnny Depp is a complicated figure, but one thing's for sure, he takes his performances seriously. During the Depp versus Heard trial, it was revealed he wears an earpiece on set. Some claimed it was to avoid memorizing lines. Depp denied that. According to him and his sound engineer, the earpiece is for immersive audio, crying babies, bagpipes, even distant explosions. He uses sound to trigger the emotional responses needed in a scene. It might sound odd, but it's part of how Depp creates truth behind the eyes, as he puts it. And it's been part of his toolkit for years. Aubrey Plaza spinning herself drunk. Playing drunk convincingly on screen is no easy feat. For The White Lotus Season 2, Aubrey Plaza had to play a character who was often tipsy or outright drunk, and she didn't want it to feel cartoony. So what did she do? She spun herself in circles before filming. The more drunk her character was supposed to be, the more spins she did. It's a clever way to simulate disorientation without actually drinking, and Plaza nailed it. Genius, guts, and a whole lot of grit. These aren't your average acting tricks. These are genius-level, borderline masochistic decisions made in the name of craft. Acting may be storytelling, but sometimes it's also suffering. Luckily for us, that pain led to unforgettable moments on screen. Which one shocked you the most? Let us know in the comments. And while you're here, hit that like button, subscribe for more behind-the-scenes Hollywood madness, and ring the bell so you don't miss the next story.